And so if the more skin you have, the more deep you can go.
Why did he make you deep?
Well, the goal is to like have somewhat depth so you can take a nice sized penis.
So you're
Stupid
Italian
question.
too.
What'd you say?
So you're Italian too if you had extra skin.
Yeah, I was Italian.
Really fast before.
Guys, what's up? Welcome back to the show. We're here, All Good Things Podcast. An incredible guest today. Do you watch Vanderpump Rules? Do you go out and see stand-up comedy? It is Billie Lee. She is here today. She has a new book called Why Are You So Sensitive? Incredible. Unfortunately, I did not get it ahead of time, but I did read what it was about, and it sounds like something that we really need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's navigating everyday unintended microaggressions. And of course, your perspective is something that I'm just so happy you're here because,
Thank
you know,
you.
I live in a straight hetero world with my wife and my 2 kids. My sister's gay. I grew up with that. So that was my experience there. But, you know, it just to have you here and, you know, to know that you're trans and to talk about that, that's like, so thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How did you get into Vanderpump Rules?
So I
That was the thing that sort of made you famous, right?
yes.
So that's so interesting. So was that an audition? Are you friends with them?
It was through casting.
Casting. So you
But it
go on.
wasn't like an audition, it was more like meetings, like several meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a restaurant and for a couple years and it was like so stressful. And the owner of the building bought me out. I took a year off just traveling. And then because of the restaurant, a lot of producers would come in there. And I started blogging about my trans experience. Because I was living in stealth, which was like, I wasn't telling anyone.
Yeah.
And when I decided to like own who I was and be an activist in that way, I blogged about it. And then like when blogging was cool. And yeah, producers got a hold of it. And then I had several meetings and it was like, it just happened. Yeah.
I read one of your blogs, and the interesting part was you went and had the surgery. You moved to California, you had the surgery, and then you just lived as a woman and you didn't tell anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that things started to happen for you as you lived just as a woman without telling anyone. But then there was something missing inside of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you weren't being completely honest with everybody.
Yeah.
It was a great article too. I really liked it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. I felt like I was betraying myself in a way. And I wasn't being honest with people that I was intimate with.
Yeah.
And even my like most intimate like friendships, just I was so afraid. And what happens is like whenever I decided to transition, and this was like years ago, when society can't put you in a box, like is that a boy or a girl? I couldn't even get a job. Like I struggled so hard. I had to do sex work. It was just like one negative thing after another. It was as if society put me in a corner and just beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So when I finally did raise the money and have enough money to
How much did that cost?
total about $100K,
Okay.
a little under.
Not bad.
But when I did fully transition medically, it blew my mind how open and accepting people were. And like people were running to hold the door open for me.
Yeah.
Like guys were lined up to date me. Like it was like I was finally the cool kid. Like I wasn't being beaten up, you know? So you don't want that to go away.
Right.
Because the second I would tell someone, it was as if like midnight struck and like my dress came off or something.
Right.
Like people, just their perception of me completely changed. So I just lived stealth for a couple of years. I didn't tell anyone. And then I just realized I was betraying people and myself. And then also there was a trans woman that came in my restaurant, a trans woman of color. And when she left, my regulars and the guy I was dating was like, who or what the fuck was that? And I realized there was a whole entire community that I was a part of that was suffering.
Yeah.
And I'm standing behind this counter, literally like hiding out because of my cis-assuming privileges. And that just like, I don't know, I went through this whole spiritual journey. I did a lot of ayahuasca ceremonies.
Ooh.
Because
How was that? What did you see? I love ayahuasca ceremonies.
Really?
Well, I've never done it, but I've always wanted to. I'm too scared.
Oh, it's amazing. But
How sick did you get?
Oh my God. I didn't like shit my pants, but I threw up nonstop.
You did?
Like I was always afraid to throw up and purge back then until ayahuasca because I was the first one in the entire room to start throwing up. I was so
Yeah.
scared.
Did you go down to South America to do it?
No, actually we rented like this estate, like two shamans, also actual doctors rented estates like 2 hours from here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
So
do
it's
it
like a
multiple
private
times or just once?
5.
What was the best thing that you got out of it? Like, what did you see? What came to you?
So when you're a child, if you go through any type of trauma or bullying or anything, especially me, I held on to a lot of shame.
Yeah.
And most of the shame was my parents correcting people because they assumed that I was their daughter
Yeah.
because I was so feminine as a boy.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much that makes an impact on you and how much that slows you down in life. And like, I don't know, when I did ayahuasca, my spirit guides were dancing around me and pulling out all this shame that I was holding on to, which came out in a bucket, me throwing up.
Wow.
And I just, every time I did it, I felt lighter and lighter, like years of therapy in one night.
Wow.
And I just realized that my parents were only 16 when they had me, and they were in the middle of America, didn't graduate high school.
What
They
part
were
of the
just-
country?
Indiana.
Yeah, oh, Indiana. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So they were just doing the best they could do, you know?
Yes, of course.
So it really just helped me in so many ways. And that's what really helped jumpstart me, like being open as a trans woman.
I really
then-
like that. I
yeah.
like that you said that about your parents. They were doing the best they could do. That's like so
Yeah.
forgiving and so nice. I feel the
Mhm.
same way about my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was mistakes, but it's like they didn't know.
No, exactly.
They were literally like, if you look at my parents and then their parents, like their parents were like off the boat, you know,
Mhm.
and it's like they didn't go to college, so they didn't know.
Yeah.
And okay, so ayahuasca, and then do you think you're brave?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you have to
Do
be.
you feel that when you see people? Probably people write to you all the time, say thank you, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, when I do speaking engagements, especially for the book, I have people that like line up and like cry and talk to me.
Yeah,
And a lot of parents with trans kids,
Yeah.
you know, because it's so important for most parents just want their kids to be loved, you know? And
Mhm.
if your kid is trans, it's a very hard life and it's scary.
Talk a little bit about. I'm interested in hearing about when you first started realizing that you were trans,
Hmm.
and before trans, how did you identify?
Well, I always identified as a boy until I moved from Indiana to LA and started transitioning, which was like, I think 2021 or something.
Oh, so not long ago.
No, I mean, I'm 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
First of all, you look great.
thanks.
I thought you were much younger.
Thank
and
you.
so this was recent.
Yeah.
Wait,
well,
all this has happened, Vanderpump Rules, everything in the last 3 years? And the transition?
No, it happened when I was 21. So like 20
I
years
thought you
ago.
said 2021. I'm so sorry. Go,
Yeah.
go, go.
So 2021 is like, sorry. Yeah. I was like 20 years old, 21 years old.
Got it.
But yeah, before then.
Such an idiot.
No, it's okay. It literally, 2012 is when I actually medically transitioned, like full on.
You'd have to come out of the doctor and the casting director would be like, all right, let's go. And then become
Yeah.
this big star in 36 months.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. But when I was little, I didn't know that I always was attracted to very feminine things. And I was always mistaken as like a girl because I was very feminine. But a key moment in my life was when I won an Easter egg hunt and I was like 6 or 7.
Mhm.
And they had like a huge tent that was like pink with like pink toys. And then they had a boys' tent with all the boy toys. And my dad like put me on his shoulders and he passed the girls' tent and went straight to the boys. And I wanted a pink bike out of this pink tent. And that's when I knew that like something was really wrong. And
Right.
like I was forced to be something that I didn't feel on the inside.
Yeah.
So that's like the first moment that it really happened. But I had to continue like putting a front on and being masculine. And every time I decided to embrace my masculinity to, I don't know, I guess blend in or, you know, less bullying if I'm more manly,
Yeah.
the suicidal thoughts would come back.
Ugh,
So it's just like,
terrible.
I think that's why it's so important for trans people to be able to transition. Did you guys see the documentary with Harper and Will Ferrell?
Yeah, I watched it.
And Will Ferrell was like,
Do you know I knew Harper when she was
really?
Andrew. Yeah, because I worked at Saturday Night Live, and Andrew was a brilliant writer, still is a brilliant writer.
Mhm.
Harper, Andrew, whatever. Harper was a brilliant writer, and I had no idea. And I just saw a billboard. I was coming out of. I went and saw that movie with Demi Moore that just came out.
Oh,
What's
The
it called?
Substance?
The Substance.
I
Yeah.
heard it's crazy. Yeah.
And I saw a poster, and I was like, oh damn, like that's Andrew. Like I had no idea. But the movie's really good. It's on, and it's great that it's on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
because that's a movie that if it was made 20 years ago, you'd have to maybe go to the art house and not
Yeah.
as many people see it. But now anybody can see it. And I think that's really important
Mm-hmm.
to it's just important for people to understand what it's like, especially too, like I think it's like when you're trans, like you're in danger. You know what I mean? You go to a bar, you may be in the wrong part of town or wrong part of the country,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what a lot of comedians miss is like I see a lot of jokes about it, and I'm like, okay, that's funny, and I really do appreciate someone who's trans who makes jokes about it and has a good sense of humor about it, which is what I think this book is. I haven't read it, but I also think that. It really is important to put yourself in those shoes,
Mm-hmm.
like to, and that's something I think about a lot, especially when you said you're a kid and you have suicidal thoughts. That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
And something that's interesting, and the reason I asked you how you identified, because I think the assumption is if you're a trans woman that you were a gay man before. And that's what because I had a very dear friend who unfortunately passed.
Yeah.
Bruce, did you ever go to Prizzi's back in the day?
No.
It was on Franklin. It was this amazing Italian restaurant. And Bruce owned it for years.
Yeah.
Bruce was into women.
Yeah.
And then one day, literally transitioned.
Yeah.
Not medically, but he started medically. But one day just showed up as a woman, but he was still dating women.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he identified as a straight man before he identified as trans, which I think most people wouldn't assume was an option,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really interesting because, yeah, anyway, speak to that if you have any thoughts on that.
To Bruce at Prizzi's.
Oh, I wish you could have met.
Well, I didn't know Bruce,
No, not
No, I'm
speak
kidding.
to him, but and he turned into Catherine, which was like, it was
Yeah.
such a cool, but it was
Mhm.
years ago, and he ended up passing away because of he was too old for the medication, and he
Oh,
had a heart
wow.
attack. It was
What
awful.
kind of medication?
It was whatever,
Like hormones,
like hormones, but
Oh.
it was,
estrogen.
he was older too. And I think the fact that he was as old as he was probably 60. And it was years ago before they really perfected
Mm-hmm.
the medical side of it. And yeah, he had a massive heart attack. It
Oh
was
boy.
horrendous. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's tricky because I guess you could say I was in one gay relationship because society again really forced me to be masculine. And even when I started liking a guy, he did not want me to be feminine. Like he hated that I wore makeup. He hated that I shaved my legs. And I just wanted to be a woman. And
Yeah.
he was like,
How old were you?
17.
Yeah.
And he was a few years older than me. He was in college. I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like the shame went from being in my family to my first relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got out of that relationship, that's when I moved to LA and I started my transition.
Are you in a relationship now?
No.
Dating?
Kind of. I'm so focused on my career and so many
Yeah.
things are happening that I'm kind of like an anxious attachment person. So if I date, I put a lot of energy to it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fuck that up right now because I have a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's a full-time job.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I have another question. And we were talking about this, Jason and I, before. I'm in my 50s,
Yeah.
and I grew up in the punk East Village scene and the San Francisco scene when I was in my early 20s. Did a lot of performance art,
Mhm.
and there were lots of trans friends of mine,
Yeah.
and I remember the attitude around trans was a really powerful, like it. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like so cool and so interesting and so powerful. And it are have you seen a change in the way, like it seems like the attitude around the community and around the issue of trans has changed a lot and it's gotten more sensitive, which I'm interested to read your book to
Mhm.
see what you write about with that. But it just seems like it's a different, obviously it's a different time and
Yeah.
there's a different energy around it. It
Mhm.
doesn't seem as punk rock, but it seems more general now,
Mhm.
like in society. I don't know. That was word salad.
Uh, no, I mean, I don't. Here's the thing: is like, before I transitioned, and then when I was living stealth, I wasn't part of a community really
Mhm.
until I really started owning who I was and blogging about it. And then I was kind of pushed out into this community, and it was like, wow, there are people like me. And within that trans community, there was so much love and acceptance. So I think within the community, within the events and the parties and stuff like that, that vibe is still there. But I think because of society, because of politics, and we are basically like, I think personally that the Republicans use the trans issue as a way to put fear in people. Um,
With like the bathrooms and
yeah.
trans people performing for kids and things like this.
And
Yes,
now
of
it's
course.
like
Which is absurd.
and now it's like you can send your kid to school and they're going to come back a different gender. It's like the schools can't even afford student lunches.
Like the idea that they're sitting there saying that like you can go to school and the kid comes back a different sex the same
Trump
day.
literally just
It's
said
like,
out at
what
another
the fuck
rally.
are they talking about?
Yeah.
Like that's not real.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
think that. Did you see they were giving kids sleep patches? Did you see
Oh,
that?
I did see
What?
that. Yeah.
It was these kids
What's a sleep
these kids
patch?
were coming home with little sleep. There's like a sleep patch you could buy at like CVS, and it'll whatever it has in it, melatonin or whatever. And then the kids were coming home with these patches on their arms, and the teachers were just putting them to sleep so they would behave. Like that's a problem. That's a much bigger issue.
That's insane. And they don't need parental approval for that?
No, they do.
No,
That's why they're.
they do. They can't do that. Yeah, you do need a parental approval for that. Yeah. So that was the problem. What do you think is too young to get the surgery to transition? We're all in agreement. Getting, transitioning, wonderful, great choice. That's how you want to live. I love that. But what age?
Well, first of all, I think it should be up to the parents. No one else, obviously. Right?
See, I think I get worried about that. I get worried about the parents. But go ahead.
But here's the thing: is like part of me is
Yeah.
like you're young, you're still growing. You
Yes.
know, it's like if a 16-year-old a cis girl wanted a boob job, I'd be like, you're still growing.
Yes.
You know, like don't get a boob job. However, I will say if I could have taken hormone blockers, like testosterone blockers when I was younger,
Oh yeah.
that would have saved me so much depression. Like when you guys
I see.
started puberty, I'm sure you guys were like, yo, my balls are dropping. I got some hair going. I'm feeling
Not me,
good. Okay. Well, me, I literally, it felt like
much going on. I think I'm turning into a woman anyway. I feel that way as I get older too. I'm like every day, like I turn into my mother. Like, I talk like my mother. I say, eat this bread. You guys, why haven't eaten anything? But go ahead.
you do have an old lady vibe, actually.
Maybe I need some hormones.
Wow.
I do. It's you'll catch me on a day when I lift weights, Billy.
Okay.
It'll be a lot more masculinity. Hold
I
on,
wonder
let me
what
drop
Billy-
my voice for the rest of the episode. Billy?
You just got a haircut too. I wonder what
It's
the
listen,
verdict would have been
I look
before.
like a lesbian with this haircut, but but that's fine. My sister was lesbian growing up, and I never got laid, and she was crushing puss left and right. So
Yeah.
so I don't know. Okay, so wait, but you finish what you said. So you're getting somewhere good.
Okay. So most boys who enjoy being in their body, who are cis, when the, puberty starts, it's a good thing. For me, it was as if a monster was destroying my body.
Yeah.
Like I did not like the fact that I was growing hair on my body, that I was growing facial hair, which then kicked in I was very depressed. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts because if I could have just had blockers, not surgery,
Yep.
not saying like,
Yep.
and you can reverse blockers, like you can get off blockers and start puberty again. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a permanent thing. that would have really helped. And I think that that could be literally life-saving for some people
Uh-huh.
because the trans suicide rate is so high because of things like that.
Uh-huh.
So, but when it comes to actual surgery, I think if you did the blockers, then you have plenty of time to until you're 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think if we are allowing people to drive at 16, which is insane to me because cars are so dangerous.
Insane.
Um,
My daughter's about to drive. That's why I say it's insane. But go ahead.
yeah, no, I have like my niece is about to
My
drive.
daughter's would be better than my son, though. My son never got his license, but go ahead.
But yeah, so I think like, from 16 to 18, I think that there's something there. Again, up to the parents.
Yeah. Have you heard of people having surgeries at 16?
No, but I've heard of people started blockers.
Start blockers.
At a young age when they started puberty. And I wish I was like, damn, if only because I had to have so much surgery because I had to fight against that.
Uh-huh.
I had like my face done, my nose came out like more prominent. I think my nose was like the most masculine thing on my body.
Have you ever heard of a case where the parents were like, the kid grew up, the parents thinking he or she was trans, and then he got older and he was like, no, my parents just pushed that on me. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I've never heard of it.
No, me neither.
But I do know a family with like 3 trans kids, which is like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they're young.
Mm-hmm.
They're young.
Well,
8, 9, 10.
Well,
You know?
it's very it's so different than whenever I was younger. It's very fluid. It's very
Yes.
like if you are like straight and cis, it's like you're not the cool kid. Like in some of these schools in LA, I was like, oh dear.
There's a little bit of that too. It's like,
mhm.
okay, I want to be different, and different is cool, and
Yeah.
that's something to think about.
My phone never rings anymore because I'm cis male. That's how unpopular. Also old. So something I'm to piggyback on this.
Mhm.
What is there a line between fad versus a kid that genuinely, I think the big concern is like, there's the kids that are truly trans, and then there are kids that are probably really wrapped up in the energy of this movement.
But I also think that maybe there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, yeah, you want to be
I'm not
you want to
saying
be
there is.
goth
I'm
for
just-
3 months, you want to be trans for 3 months. As long as you're not getting
But the
surgery.
surgery,
Right.
see, it's the surgery,
You know what I
not
mean?
the
It's like,
clothes.
okay, yeah. And then if they come out of it like, I don't know what that was, like that's not who I am now. And I guess it's okay, But it is
Yeah.
it is an interesting issue for sure. What's the book about? Tell us.
So why are you so sensitive? It was before I became a comedian. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that I have like such a serious topic book, but I also like do comedy now. But I was always told that I was too sensitive as
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
And when I started Vanderpump, a lot of fans would compliment me, but the way they would compliment me was a microaggression. So they would be like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, how are you prettier than me? And I'm a real woman.
Ooh.
Like, it was so many different ways. Like, guys would be like, yo, you're hot. I want to fuck you, and I don't fuck dudes. And it's like, so I'm a dude? Like, there was so many ways that guys and fans and even some of my co-stars would compliment me, and I always felt like shit. And then when I talked about it with my trans community, microaggression came up, and I realized it happens to even like cis people. It happens to cis women at the job. Like, there's so many different types of microaggression. Jewish people experience it a lot. So I wanted to create this book because if you look up microaggressions, there's a lot of textbooks, but there's no like digestible book that you can set on your coffee table and it looks pretty. So my team and I came together and was like, let's get some amazing people together and create this book. And I'm very honest in that book. I talk about things that are very embarrassing for me, like just things that I've experienced in my relationship that was a microaggression.
Any of the stuff that you bring on stage? Because I've seen a lot of your work on stage.
Yeah, I do talk more.
Because there were some bits that you've done
Mhm.
on my shows that were really like intense bits.
Hmm. Yeah. Doing comedy on trans stuff is so fun because like
What's that like? When you go up, is it what kind of audiences are you in front of? Are you in front of your audience? Are you in front of people that don't know you?
don't know me.
Don't know me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm still building I have a lot of building for my comedy. But my goal is to have a straight hetero like audience. Like when I did a show in La Jolla, you know how it's like,
Yeah.
it has like
Comedy
a
store? Yeah.
it has a
Oh, La Jolla
military base.
It's what?
Military base?
Yes.
Yeah.
La Jolla is very masculine. La Jolla. I think the women are masculine there. They are very Republican. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
when I parked my car at night, I was like all dressed up, excited for the show because I was doing like Pretty Funny Woman. And dudes were like following me, like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm not a prostitute. Like, get away. It was such a vibe. So then when I go in, like, you know, guys like to hit on me before I go up. They'll like want to buy me a drink and stuff. And then I go up and I do my bit. And they all don't realize that I'm trans until I go up there. And they're literally like, oh my God. And so I'm up there like, you know, you're looking at the audience. That's the thing with comedy is you want to connect with the audience, but then you have all these people hiding from you. So I would feel so nervous and be like, oh shit. Like, so I realized I have to like make the men in the audience feel comfortable too. So then I started the joke, dick confusion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men, like, as soon as they get a little happy, like their dick is confused. And so I have this whole bit about it. And I say it in like a deeper voice, like, nobody, stay down. She's one of us.
Yes.
I do this whole thing and guys fucking love it. Like they laugh so hard. And I immediately make the cis straight guy comfortable. And that is my goal. I know some comedians are like, my goal is to make the audience uncomfortable. But if I'm going to entertain them and make them laugh, I need them to feel comfortable. So I've been working a lot of jokes around my audience, which is, and at the end of the night, people come up to me and they're like, yo, like you were the funniest trans girl. Like I was uncomfortable at first, but like you made it like so cool and fun.
Right.
And it's like, I get to be of service in a way, but also make people laugh, which is
that's
so
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's good to hear that. What's so weird to me though is that how it's not cool. Because like but then again, like you said,
how was that cool?
I was in New York and San Francisco at the time in these underground clubs, and like the coolest people on the scene were trans, like hands down coolest. And so for me, I've always equated trans with like the ultimate punk rock state of being. Plus also thinking about like Stonewall, like I bet you most kids nowadays that are queer have no idea the origins of Stonewall and like how that started and you know.
But we're in a bubble, like especially in LA. It's like I went to Bakersfield. I did a show in Bakersfield, and everybody was like, "You better be careful!" Like they were scaring the shit out of me. And then I go there, and like it was one of my favorite shows. The guys were dying laughing. Like
great.
It was such a cool experience.
Great.
So I think it's important to get outside of the bubble of LA or like wherever you are.
Yeah.
And because here, obviously, trans people are more celebrated. But my goal is to be able to travel all over America and do this show and really open people's minds while entertaining them.
So now that you're a stand-up, what still offends you? Does the word tranny offend you? If someone were to use that word. I
mean, I think only trans people should say tranny.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I was on Vanderpump, I was.
What if you're an ally and you use that word?
I mean,
like your friend.
Yeah, if you're friends and you're like your best friend is trans and you guys are hanging out and you say tranny, I don't think that's you know. But if you're on social media going around saying tranny, like that's
got it.
I think it's kind of like the N word.
Yeah,
like you know, like
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely.
Everybody can say Jew though. It's crazy.
No, when I do say that though, I kind of like I'm like no, like
I'm Jewish.
No, okay, love that.
Yeah.
Most people in my life are Jewish.
People use that word negatively, you know?
Yeah, no, they do.
Well, doesn't it also depend on the way you're saying it?
Yes, it does. I think Louis has a bit about that, but yeah.
Yeah, if you're just saying this person's a Jew. Well, a Jew, that kind of has a fucking Jew. I mean, then it really...
Right.
You're Jewish too, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I thought I read you were. I'm so sorry.
No, but I have a
didn't
few.
mean to-
I have a
I didn't mean
few.
to take you down a peg.
No, actually, I have considered converting because I have so many amazing
yeah.
people in my life that are Jewish.
Hey,
And
nobody wants this. Great show.
yeah,
Did you watch it?
no, it is a great show.
It's good, though.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was about a rabbi. I was like, how is this going to work? There's nobody's going to like this but Jewish people, but people liked it.
No, people love it.
Yeah.
It's good. But I think I have a bit that I'm working on where it's like I get so much shit for being trans, but now I want to be Jewish. It's like I'm, addicted to the pain and suffering.
That's the only religion I would consider joining, because they don't want. I think we said this in the last podcast. I said it. They don't proselytize,
Mm-hmm.
and there's something about that makes me like, maybe I want that.
Yeah.
Well, on the Jewish holidays, I literally have FOMO because everyone in my life is Jewish.
Yes.
I'm like,
everybody in LA is. Yeah, I know.
and also like,
well, we run the media. We're all here.
Yeah. But
and they have how many days at Hanukkah? 9?
8.
8. I mean, 8 present days versus 1. I mean, it's just smarter.
I'm Jewish and I married an Arab too. So
Okay.
that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day I get the report. Yeah, they're like, what are you guys doing to us? I'm like, I'm not doing it.
What
Yeah.
religion?
I'm like, I don't know, Netanyahu.
Does she practice?
She practiced? No, she's not religious.
Is she Muslim or?
No, but she's from Lebanon and they're being bombed right now, which sucks.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
awful.
and so that's a tight one. That's a tough issue here.
I know. I think about my Jewish friends too because it's so hard for them because they're not the ones doing it. Like
Yeah.
It's such a situation where it's just like your heart breaks for everyone.
It does, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. I have so much to ask you. Okay, teach us some cool terms from the trans community. Like I heard the term passing.
Okay, so passing is not cool anymore.
Okay.
It's-
Not cool. Just terms.
Jeez, there you
yeah.
go.
Well, no, we like to use cis assuming.
I think what passing is when you are passing as a different gender, right? And not telling
Passable,
anyone.
Yeah, you're passing as like.
But you
the
don't use
gender.
that anymore.
No.
Oh, that's bad.
You say cis assuming.
Cis assuming.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Cis assuming.
Because here's the thing is like, and I write this in my book too. Like for me, I express my feminine energy. I've always expressed my feminine energy, which is why I got bullied so bad. But I really wanted to express it so much that I wanted to transition. Like I really wanted to own that. I was privileged enough to get the funds and have all these surgeries. And there are some trans people that do not have that privilege.
Uh-huh.
And therefore, it's not cool to, think that they're not beautiful or attractive or a woman because they don't have the same privilege as me.
Yes.
So I think that that's the reason why we're trying to get away from passing, because it makes other trans people feel like, oh, well, because I didn't have the same surgeries as Billie, because I'm not this or white or whatever the situation is, then I feel less than.
Uh-huh.
And we have to also realize that most people that suffer in the trans community are trans women of color.
Uh-huh.
So, it's just like you got to check your privilege. And I think when you are passing, that is a privilege.
Most
That's
people,
really interesting.
most people who are suffering from cis assuming are of color. Is that what you said?
Most people cis assuming means you're passing.
Got
like
it.
you're, okay. So
Most people who
the
can't transition.
opposite is, if they can't fully medical transition or if they
Right.
still have masculine, like if they still have masculine energy that they're expressing. But it's challenging. And most of the time, the reason why trans women of color suffer so much is because within the culture, like
I see. I know exactly what you mean.
it's looked at as
I know what you mean.
any type of feminine energy
Oh my
in
God, yeah.
a male, if they were born male, is looked at as a very negative thing.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the culture. So therefore, it's way more dangerous for a trans woman of
I
color.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I mean,
Do you find it hard to hold these sensitivities and also make comedy?
yes.
Yeah.
I did a show one time and like a bunch of trans people came because we were like part of this email group and they're like, let's go and support Billie. And I fumbled so much. I was in the belly room because I was so afraid to make them feel a certain type of way. But I make fun of myself. I don't make fun of anyone else.
Yes.
But, it's just like if you were riffing on a bunch of Jewish things and then the whole audience was Jewish, like, I don't know. For me, it just like made me feel bad, even though
Yeah.
like I didn't do anything wrong because it wasn't about them. But yeah, it is hard because like I could do a comedy podcast. Like I did a comedy podcast at the Comedy Store, and the producer was like, "You're going to talk about hot topics, make it funny." And then I talked about hot topics, and I like said that someone that was overweight probably couldn't find his dick. Oh my God, I got so many DMs like, "How dare you fat shame someone while you're reading this book?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't like."
But you need to own that you're a comedian.
I know.
You know, I was on stage the other night and it was an all black crowd. And I got into that about, and I probably would never say this on the podcast, but I got into something about, why are you guys so lame about everyone being gay? And everyone laughed. Like everyone was like, you know, like if you're gay, like what's the big deal? Like you guys are so hard on everybody, you know? And, but that is something that's like really prevalent in Black culture. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I've heard different things. I've heard it stemmed from like,
we're going to take a stab at it, the three white people, but
I know. That's why I don't even.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'll
just
pass.
He is very liberal, so
I'll let the DMs define this. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't care. Whatever people want to say. Go ahead.
Well, okay, I read something. This is just what I'm saying. I read something, and it really kind of blew my mind. Back in the day, slavery, their survival was masculine. Their survival was to be strong.
Oh,
wow,
you nailed it.
That's how. Like
it all goes
black
back to
men,
slavery.
Black men had to be like if they were going to survive, they had to be the most masculine person.
Yes,
and so obviously, if a person is born feminine, that is like they could die from that.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's very deeply rooted, you know, and it's just like it's fucked up because we have a role in that.
Aren't you a wonderful person? Aren't you like very thoughtful and I liked what you said about, you know, you get to be funny and you also get to like kind of help people along the way, you know?
Yeah.
That's
I think
really
comedy is
nice.
being of service, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It can be.
Yeah, I know.
Depends on what night I'm on stage.
Are you still on Vanderpump?
No. I did 2 seasons and I finished. And then I did go back last season just to help out a friend. And it was like, I was part of this insane scandal. And
The Tom Sandoval thing. You'll have to forgive me. I heard about Tom Sandoval. I've never watched the show. I watched Real Housewives. That one I know. But Vanderpump, I guess, I remember that big scandal was happening. And
yeah.
So you just went back to help him out. Is it hard to, what's it like to film a reality show like that?
It's horrible.
Is it?
I hate reality.
I knew it.
I hate it.
The only experience I've ever had is I was on a couple of reality shows that were like comedy based. So you're in a competition. I did one with Marlon Wayans and I did Last Comic. And I remember doing the one with Marlon Wayans and they would bring me in the room and they'd be like, well, so-and-so said that your sketch wasn't funny. And I'd be like, all right. Yeah, and that's their opinion. You know, like they just want to create some kind of thing. And is that why you didn't like it?
A number of reasons I didn't like it. Like I hated the fact that someone can edit you and you have no control.
Yeah.
That's what I love about comedy is I have control over my narrative, you know? But the tricky thing is like, one, I entered a show where they were like a clique of people. So like an outsider coming in was very challenging. But the producers, like the crew I love. And I loved some of the executives, but the producers who were there to manipulate you into this drama, if you didn't do something that they wanted you to do, it was like they iced you. So you would walk on set, but not really a set, but like whatever the scene is set up. And the producers won't even look at you. You're like trash to them because you didn't do this one fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like they'll kiss your ass. It's so obvious how much they're kissing your ass at the beginning so they can get what they want out of you. But the second you're like, oh, I'm not comfortable doing that, or I can't show up to that, or I don't want to do that. It's like they literally look at you as like you're literally a piece of trash on set.
Would you do another one if someone came to you and was like, you're the center of it and you can bring your friends in? Would you do another reality show?
I'm really into acting right now. I love it so much. It took years for me to understand acting and fall in love with it. I've said this to my team. If they wanted to do a docuseries about a trans woman adopting a baby and becoming a mother, like something that would fit into my future, because that's really important to me, is to become a mother, then hell yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. But it would depend on the production company, the network. What's the intention? Are we here to educate people and entertain them, or just like be a fucking crazy piece of shit screaming and yelling?
On this topic, I want to hear. I saw Baby Reindeer. I'm assuming you
Oh,
saw
I
it.
saw that.
Oh my God, I loved it.
And
Loved
the
it.
thing I loved about that one actor, trans actor,
Mhm.
I loved the fact that my big takeaway observation from that was the most normal, put together character in that world of insane personalities.
Right. Yeah.
And I loved that. I was so, because normally when you see Hollywood put a trans person in a film, they're always the spectacle of
Totally.
and she was totally not a spectacle. She was the most normal.
She was the one grounded. Like
She was the
grounded.
total grounded person.
Yeah, the
Now, that
girlfriend.
being said, I want to hear what your thoughts are of that actor and any other actors you might want to talk about.
That's a good point of view. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I think trans actors, I love them. I mean, they're killing it. Like it's weird because my whole entire life, like my parents, my mom, she's like, stay in town and be a manager at McDonald's. Like they didn't have like these massive big dreams for me. So I didn't think that I had any type of talent until I sold a pilot at ABC Disney. It was a half-hour comedy. And my team at the time was like, if you're going to be writing and possibly starring in a comedy, you should probably take comedy classes. So I got into comedy classes. It was 2 years ago. And my teacher was like, oh my God, your point of view, your timing, like you need to continue doing this. And then at the same time, I got into Playhouse West, which is like the Meisner technique. And my teacher, he's so old. He like owns the studio. He's like 90 years old. I was like, he's Republican. I was like, oh my God, he's going to hate me because I'm trans. I ended up being his favorite student.
Yeah.
And he would talk about me whenever I wasn't there, but he was like blown away by my talent. But I was 38 years old and did not know that I had talent until then.
Oh, wow.
Like, and I'm only 40. So I have a lot of work to do and a lot of exploring. Like I'm moving to New York to join an acting studio there. Like there's
But you're
things-
moving out of LA?
I'm going back and forth, but I do want to have my home base in New York.
Oh,
I know. I'll probably
God
be here in the
damn it.
winter though, because I can't do winters in New York.
you're dropping that on this pod. This is supposed to be a fun, happy podcast.
I'll be back and forth all the time. It's bi-coastal.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun how, at 38 to discover that. That's like a really good thing that you brought up. Just keep like
Mhm.
that you could discover that.
Yeah. It was.
Especially everything you've been through. It's I think I forget that too. I'm like, oh, you still can get good at something. You still can try.
Totally.
Keep going.
It's never too late.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people quit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of people come and go in LA. I've been here so long. They like come here all excited with their dreams, and either they fall in love or they give up really quickly and
How
move
long
away.
have you been out here?
Well, since I was like 20, 21. So it's, I think, going on almost, actually, this coming summer, 2025 will be 20 years.
Wow.
Have you ever met Caitlyn Jenner?
I have. I've
Yeah.
been to her house, and
What's she like?
I don't necessarily like her.
Okay.
At the time when I was at her house, I was there for dinner. She was very nice to me, a very sweet, nice person. But I think she's very harmful to the trans community. And look, she has every right, and I'll say she, her, hers. She has every right to transition and be a woman. But I do believe that she's very harmful to my community.
So, yeah, you can't to have those politics and be trans. It doesn't go. You can't be that way. And some would
Well,
say,
there's just like ways, like for instance, in sports.
Yeah.
Okay, like there are cis women who are way more masculine and muscular and stronger than I am.
Mhm.
I have trans sisters who are like the size of my finger. And I know there are cis women that could beat the fuck out of them or beat them in any sport. So it's not a black and white when it comes to trans people in sports. And I think that we have to look at it by each case. And for her to just be like, no trans people in sports at all. It's like, what? Like, I don't agree with that.
Oh, that's what you have issue with.
Well, multiple things.
She's
but
so
that's
she's
one.
taken that line of that is interesting. Like where do you draw the line on that one?
Okay, well, can we talk about the what was it? Did you see? I think it was like the boxer with the Olympics, and everyone was saying that she was trans, but she's not. She's cis. But
Yeah.
she was so muscular and big.
Yeah.
I mean, she's cis. So
But what about when there's a swimmer that's 76th in the world as a male, and then goes to a woman and is now number one? What do you think about that?
yeah,
What about the girl all the girls that were like, well, what the hell? Like I was 2, I was 3, like I was number 1. You know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah.
that feels not fair either.
I think about this, and I might be like
Yeah.
totally off, but you know, like with wrestling, it's by weight.
Yeah.
Like, can it be something where it's about weight or muscle mass? Because there are stronger cis women out there. Like, I don't know. I feel like there could be something
What do you
there.
I think,
And we're giving you tough questions, so.
no, and this is
Oh,
a
no.
really,
But it's only because I have you here and I'm dying to hear the perspective. Go ahead.
I mean, I think it's complicated. I feel like this issue is similar to abortion in that
There's no
just
answer?
well, it's not that there's no answer. There's just not a perfect answer.
Yeah, it's
You know
not
what I
black
mean?
and
Like,
white.
it's because say I had on one side of the fence, say I had a daughter, you know, when we talk about sports, I mean, kids growing up, they get scholarships. I mean, it's not just for fun, it's money, it's career. I
Sure.
mean, there's a lot at stake. But on the flip side, if I had a kid that was trans, I'd also be like, part of the problem is that there's not a high enough population of trans people to have their own league.
Well, sure.
So is it, part of me is like, well, then shouldn't a trans woman just then compete in the male sports? Like when I was wrestling, there were no women wrestling leagues.
Yeah.
So there were women that would wrestle.
Against the men?
Yeah, and
It sounds kinky.
I was totally into it. I was all for it.
That's wild.
But no, but
Sounds like Pornhub.
it was in Ohio. I don't,
what?
you know,
What are
I
you
don't know.
saying? Are you serious?
I'm
There'd
dead
be
ser- no. I'm being
a guy
dead
and a girl
serious.
would wrestle?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. And in my weight class, that was a good thing.
And would the girl ever win?
I mean, I don't know. The issue there is that the guy that was wrestling the girl was so stressed out and weirded out because, you know, as a dude, you're told not to
Beat up on a
physically
woman, yeah.
beat up on a woman.
Now's your chance.
And wrestling is
Yeah.
like kind of like that. So
Did they
I
all
don't
have
know.
boners
I just think, I mean,
during the match? Was there any boner action?
I don't know.
Come on,
I
you
don't
know.
I mean, it,
A lot of
it
gay
didn't
porn
happen
starts
enough.
that way.
I'm sure there were boners. There was two
Well,
guys
there was
wrestling.
Yeah, that's
No,
I'm saying.
there was a guy on my team that was just, and it was so funny because he had the hottest girlfriends.
Are you going to say
And
the
he
two
was,
biggest
and he,
balls?
he shaved his body and he was always tan. This is in Ohio in the winter. And I was like, this dude is all over the map. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
He's like, I don't know if he was bi. He was definitely in the closet.
Okay.
But the way he wrestled, I was like,
Oh yeah,
This-
he's getting it on.
this is not completely.
skip to the
because
ring?
Normally, when you're a guy wrestling,
like,
there
okay,
is
guys,
a part
let's
of
go.
you that's like, yeah, I'm rubbing around with a guy and I'm not into this. So there's kind of a weird, like, all right, well, I'm not into this, but I want to win this match. But this guy enjoyed it a little bit more than I noticed it. And I was like,
I guess that's kind of. I guess if you were into it, you'd probably do really well at it. You'd be very dedicated to it.
He was
You'd be
really
like,
good.
I fucking love to get
He
in
was
there
really
and grab
fucking good.
guys. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
back to the,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the issue is there's no clear, clean answer that everybody can be comfortable with. And I don't think there will be. I think it's
Yeah.
because it's too individual.
Mhm.
You know, like they don't weigh people for like swimming or basketball. Wrestling, they weigh. So there is a way to kind of, you know, mitigate that. But I think most sports, there is no weight thing. There is, and then to impose that, like if you're trans at a certain weight, you have to be with the guys, or under this weight, you can be with cis women. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't think there's something clean.
You mentioned that Caitlyn Jenner had dude energy, but isn't that's who she is, right? Like you said that like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's who she is. So like we have to be as accepting of her as anybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Or I don't know. And also the fact that she's Republican, almost like, isn't that good in a way? And I understand you don't agree with what she thinks. That's fine. But isn't that good that there's somebody on that side representing? And tell me if I'm wrong.
She's very pro-Trump.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I don't even care for my family to be pro-Trump. I've stopped talking to some family members because of it.
Mhm.
So I'll be damned if I think it's cool that a trans woman is pro-Trump.
Okay.
That's just how I feel. It's just only my opinion.
Right.
And, like I said, I'm sure there will be some trans people that will be upset that I said that. But the energy that I got from her was very masculine and very privileged.
Uh-huh.
And the energy that I see when she is talking about these situations, she's not coming from a place where, like me, where I'm rooted in my feminine energy. She's
Uh-huh.
coming from a place that seems very masculine and very privileged. And I don't think she has suffered enough like most trans people have.
Oh.
So it's just kind of like read the room, bitch.
Mm.
So
Would you go as far as to say that a more accurate identity for her would be cross-dressing rather than trans?
No, I mean she's a trans woman. That's her thing. Like I'm not gonna say she's not a trans woman. I'm just gonna say she has a lot of privilege and she has a lot of masculine energy, and I think that is harmful to my community. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
I'm not saying she's not
Privilege.
No,
trans.
I get that.
I don't get it.
Well,
I get privilege.
well,
being
you can-
privileged is not good. But
Some-
being masculine, if that's who she is, why is that bad?
Okay, it's like this too.
Explain it.
Like when I was at her house, she was like girlfriends with someone that was way younger than her.
Uh-huh.
And it was just giving me that like older dude energy that had like a younger girl around.
Oh.
Like everything about her was giving me that energy. And then fast forward, I see her on TV and she's doing all these interviews talking about these negative things about our trans community and being pro-Trump. I'm like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Like it made sense
Uh-huh.
because everything that I felt at her house was giving me like, her kids still call her dad. She's like, call me dad.
Right.
Like I wanted to call her uncle. Like
Uh-huh.
it was that vibe.
So does it feel like a fake to you?
No, I don't think it's fake. I just, again, think that she's so privileged she doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I think another way of looking at this that might be helpful, maybe not, is I think the issue with Caitlyn Jenner is that Caitlyn Jenner presents as an asshole. And I think that's, and when a person presents as an asshole and they are a
You-
poster person for,
You can be an asshole and like be rooted in your feminine energy and be aware. Like you can be a bitch
Mm.
and own that. But she's not just an asshole. She seems very
this
close-minded
is
to me.
really interesting.
Yeah, it's good
I
stuff.
know I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna get canceled, but whatever.
We'll be canceled with
Don't you
you.
want to be canceled? Isn't that what everybody
Is that the
wants?
thing? No, I don't know. I mean, I
No
know
one's gonna cancel you.
most people
Look, if
in
you
the
get-
community don't
you
like
If you
her.
get
too much
canceled,
shit.
it means you're doing something. You're important.
I guess. We'll find out.
All right. Well, so you're doing acting, no more reality shows, stand up. How old's the book? When did the book come out?
It came out in September.
September.
It's a baby. She's brand new.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time right now.
Yeah, talk about your stand-up a little bit. Like, where are you at with it right now?
Well, I did take a month or almost 2 months off to finish that and promote it.
Yeah.
And then I just finished my second book. I've been isolating myself for a whole month and I finished my second book like a few days ago.
Oh, great.
So it feels really good to get that done.
Little preview on what that's going to be about.
It's a fiction novel, but it also has a twist of my true story into it. And it's
Oh.
a love story.
Oh,
An
an author. You're a real author,
Yeah.
not just a celebrity writing their thoughts. This
No, well,
is-
you
this
read my
has a-
blogs. Like I
read your
I
blogs.
actually really enjoy writing.
Yeah, you're a very
and
good writer.
It's been something that I've been strong at. Like that's what I've known since I was younger. So yeah, I love like just isolating myself and writing and like falling into these characters and I cried for almost a month. Feels good to be on the other side. Just because, like, when you write these characters and you start to, like, I'll be out at a club, like, hanging out with Sammy or something, and, like, my mind is over there, like, thinking about this character. It's like, I need to get back to that. So it's nice to get it
That's
finished.
great, though. That's a great feeling.
That's tough for me too. It's like people want to be social and married. I have friends. And I'm just like, it's tough to like stop work. Especially if you have something burning in you, like a book. You know,
Yeah.
I find that really hard. What was I gonna say?
That's a great place to be as a creative. To be in a place where you're burning for an idea like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
It was literally just
that's
flowing.
Really good.
It was flowing. It was like nonstop.
I know you've been to therapy. Have you ever had a bad therapist?
Yeah, I had a therapist fall asleep on me one time.
Oh man,
Was he old? She old?
No, it was this. Oh, I don't want to get in trouble.
So funny.
It was at the LGBTQ center a long time ago. It was free, so I couldn't expect
one on
too much.
McCadden.
Yeah.
What
And
did
it
you
was
say?
McCadden.
It's like
No.
this.
McCadden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was this obese guy.
Yeah.
And I always remember
find
he
his
would
dick.
have this massive like soda from Jack in the Box every single day that well, not every day but every session. Yeah, and I was telling a story or something, and I heard him snoring, and I looked up, and he was like,
That's awesome.
because I was like, in probably my feelings crying or something, you know, where you're like looking down and just.
Yeah.
Therapy was always hard for me because you have to like bring up all that shit.
Yeah.
It's like bring this up and play with it, and then put it back away.
Oh,
and
I hate
go
it.
out. It's
I hate
like
it.
horrible.
You bring it all up. You go into the worst parts of yourself, and then there's somebody sitting there that's like barely gets it, and you're just like, they're like, well, yeah, okay, we'll try again next week. You're like, what, motherfucker? And then
Yeah.
you're stuck the whole day, like thinking about your terrible childhood.
I think it's horrible too. I think it's good for people that don't have friends.
Have you done
yeah.
EMDR?
What's that?
EMDR. Have you done that?
No, but I've heard it's great.
I'm right in the beginning of it.
What is
okay,
it?
keep me posted.
It's like where it's rapid eye movement therapy. It's for trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just watch a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You talk?
process. It's like you do these exercises and you relay it and then you talk about it.
You talk about your feelings while something's scanning your eyes.
No. You don't talk when it's in the process of doing
I
it.
see.
But then when it stops, it does this thing for 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah.
Then it stops, and then you have to say a couple words, describe what's in your mind, and then you do it. And you do a cycle of those, like 20, 30 rounds of that, and then after that, you talk about what came up, and there's something about that the rapid eye movement. It rewires the brain in some way.
Mhm. You know, therapy reminds me of like when you have all your apps open.
Yeah.
You're not closing them. You're just keeping them open, and you're just like going on them and looking at them and talking about them.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca reminds me of like literally clearing all of it and like resetting your phone.
Wow.
Like that's the vibe. Like you feel so reset and like you got rid of so much. You're on such a different level. Like I really do love plant medicine. I think it's the future.
Wow. Did you say you were a sex worker?
Yeah, when
How
I
was
was
that?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
How old were you when you
at
doing
the
that?
time?
Dominatrix. What was it?
No, I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
It was when I couldn't get a job. You know, like I was a server like when I was like 15 in Indiana. I had a great resume. People like loved my resume. And then when they would see me to interview me, like even in Studio City, they were like, what the fuck is that? Because you had to be like this hot person and have a headshot. So I could not get a job for the life of me. So then at the same time, I was like attracting these guys that were like, oh, this person's feminine, but also has a penis. And like, you know, it was like I was a fantasy and a fetish.
Yeah.
And so you got to go where the money's at, you know? But I was really good at, and I learned this through acting class. My teacher told me, you're really good at tapping into the imaginary circumstance. And I had to as a child because that was my safety, because I was in such a toxic environment that I would pretend all the time. Like even my teddy bears were like my dolls, but I couldn't have dolls. So I was constantly pretending and imagining. So when I was a sex worker, I got to tap into my imaginary circumstance. And when I was fucking him, I was like, our kids in the next room. Like, I would think of these crazy ass
sure.
situations. And I was privileged enough to have men who were very respectful.
Yeah.
It was very nice hotels. I was wined and dined.
Did you have a pimp?
No.
No.
It was done through a website.
A website.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And so you would just get the call, and it's got to be scary though. So I guess if you're going over to the Four Seasons, maybe you're a little less scared.
Yeah, but I had a routine. So what I would do is I would have a knife like in like my thing, like, and I would just keep it close to me. And then I would check the entire hotel room. So I'd go into the bathroom. I would check the cabinets and stuff. And it was just something that it was almost as if like I was clearing the room, That's like when it was like, but
that's sick.
You get to know these people and then like they're like your regulars, like they'll come in town once a month and it becomes a thing.
You didn't have someone go with you?
No.
Whoa.
But I mean, it's far more dangerous for a lot of trans people who don't even have a hotel room.
Yeah.
So, it's like.
Do you look back on it and go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that? Or like, are you like, I could have got killed or?
Yeah. I do think about that.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Especially because you couldn't get a job.
Exactly.
Because of the way you looked.
Yeah. I have this joke about something where I was like, back in the day, I used to when I had testosterone running through my body, all I thought about was sex all the time.
Right.
And now that I'm a woman, all I think about is what it would feel like to have sex all the time because I don't do that anymore. Like I'm very like one partner. It takes a while for me to open up and be intimate. I just love and respect my body and I don't like to just do that. But
what's the craziest thing a guy would ask for?
Well, when I have my penis, they would want me to like top them, like penetrate them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy. I mean,
I guess, you're dressed as a woman, right?
Yeah, I've identified as a woman, but I did not like my body part at the time. That's why I couldn't wait to get a vagina.
You couldn't wait to lop your penis off.
Yeah.
You hated it.
I hated it.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
were you happy with it when it came off?
I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
You're so happy.
Everything is so much better.
What's the moment like when you come out of surgery and you look down? What's that like?
Well, that was horrifying because it's very painful. Like, yes. I mean, I was drugged and I was in Thailand and I was at this beautiful retreat.
Oh, you went to Thailand. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I stayed there for a month.
Oh, wow.
Healing at like a 5-star resort. It was beautiful. I think the hard thing was like the first time you start walking because you have to like stay in bed for 7 days.
Yeah. I had hip surgery.
Oh, really? Old lady, look, here we are.
I'm trying to connect with you. But I was over at Cedars and it was tough.
Okay.
I couldn't walk for 18 hours. No. I love this. I love this. Okay, so go ahead. You go to Thailand. Keep going.
Yeah. So it was the hardest part was 2 hard parts. One, they give you the flu, so you like shit and throw up, so you don't have any bowel movement for like a week because you can't, because you'll get an infection.
Great.
So that was horrible because you're in a like totally different country, third world country, and you're like basically taking this medicine to throw up and shit, and you're very emotional and nervous. Right. It's like, what am I doing? Like, am I dying? Like, but then afterwards,
did they give you a colonoscopy too? Did they throw that in?
No, I don't think so. No, they should have. They probably should have did that.
Well, you're talking about shitting. I'm like, that sounds like what I do every 3 years.
I would have rather had that than what they gave me.
Yeah, and I've never heard of giving you something so you don't get a kidney infection. I didn't know about that.
Well, because if they didn't want me to have a bowel movement because they don't want to, there was open wound, so they didn't want me to get an infection.
Of course.
Got it. So I didn't go to bed I didn't use the restroom for like a week, so that was painful. But there was a moment, so you had to set your alarm. Thailand's really cool. Like my nurse slept by my hospital bed.
Wow.
Like literally, if I needed anything, she would just pop up and be like, "What do you need?" Like it was like their service is 5-star.
I couldn't get somebody to bring me a Diet Coke at Cedars.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, no.
And this is a fraction of the price too.
Yeah.
But so once you're out of like the actual hospital room for like, I don't know, 4 days, they bring you to your resort and you're in this beautiful room and you're like there for a month. Well, you set your alarm. The nurses would come by every day, like 3 times a day. And it was like a hotel thing. And all the trans girls were like all in this resort and they would go by. So cool. But there was a moment I forgot to set my alarm to take my medicine. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt every part of my penis that was cut and resewn. Like it was insane.
Wait, your penis is gone and you're still feeling it?
Well, the way Thailand does it is like they recycle a lot of it. Like they use all of the nerves. They create they put the nerves where the clitoris is at.
Yes,
like,
yes.
So you have such a great feeling,
Yeah.
an orgasm. So it's not like they just cut off the penis and throw it away.
Yes.
The testicles are gone, but
Yep.
everything else is recycled.
Yes.
And that is what I felt. And that was very, very traumatizing.
What way you were feeling? Just pain, basically.
Yeah, just really
Just pain.
crazy pain. Like pain, I can't even explain
The
it.
worst. And how long did that last
Feeling
for?
it now.
Ah.
And my penis is the only thing I like about myself physically. So this is interesting.
How big are you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm Italian.
Oh, okay.
What does that mean?
So 8 or 9 inches?
Somewhere.
Oh, Italian is big dicks. Okay.
I guess so. Sylvester Stallone is a big
We'll
dick.
get some of my exes in the DMs reporting on this.
Guys, if you're out there and you know the size of Keita's penis, please let us know. We're dying to know. I'm sorry you went through that, but that is so freaking interesting. Such an interesting story. That's crazy. And then at what point are you like okay and not in pain? A month?
Actually, I went through a lot of pain for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because he made me really deep.
Uh-huh.
And so if the more skin you have, the more deep you can go.
Why did he make you deep?
Well, the goal is to like have somewhat depth so you can take a nice sized penis
Yeah,
like
So
his.
you're
Stupid
Italian
question.
too.
What'd you say?
So you're Italian too if you had extra skin.
Yeah, I was Italian.
Really fast before. This is great.
This is awesome. Okay, keep
before
going, keep
we
going.
keep going, it is 3 and I want to be mindful
Oh,
of your.
shit. We could do like 10 more minutes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can wrap up. So,
Because this is really interesting.
Okay, so he made you deep.
Yeah, he made me deep.
Good. That's a
But
good
I
thing.
had to like, it was so much pressure. It felt like somebody was just sitting on me for like 6 months.
Uh-huh.
It was hard to pee. I was like emailing Thailand, my doctor, and being like, what did you do? Like, I literally slipped into this depression. And everybody was like, oh my God, you have a vagina now. Don't you feel amazing? And I was like, I couldn't barely sit down. Then I got sciatica. And
Boy.
it was
all
just, it was a really hard healing. I went from being very healthy, hiking every day, super like active, to being on a bed and a couch for 6 months. So that makes you depressed. Also, you're going through so much hormonal change because you lose your testicles and your body is just going through so much change. And I had my face done in Beverly Hills a month after that. So I literally went straight from Thailand to Beverly Hills and had all my face done.
Oh, wow.
So it was just very, very overwhelming. And I think I lost a few really close friends during that time. I went through a huge energy like transformation as well.
Did you ever go to your high school reunion?
I went to my high school reunion and all the guys tried to fuck me.
Really?
That's great.
Yeah.
Wait, so when did the surgery happen?
2012.
What year? Okay, so this is over 10 years ago. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And how's it held up?
Oh, it's great.
It's great.
She's really tight because I don't have intercourse a lot.
Uh-huh.
So that's challenging when I do like date and I have intercourse. Like the guy has to be patient with me. But I've heard it's like slowly unwrapping a Christmas gift. Like it feels good. It's nothing to be negative, but
Yeah.
it is painful for me at first just because it needs a minute. But yeah, I have the best orgasms. It's really good.
Amazing. It's a miracle.
It is. Yeah.
It's truly a miracle. Because my doctor that did my hip surgery, I could kiss him on the mouth. You know what I mean? That's all I could compare it to, but
it's life-changing.
it's life-changing.
Yeah.
Like I can walk. I can run. I ran 6 miles yesterday. Could never do it.
Yeah.
So
I had my gallbladder removed in the pandemic, and that was just like insanely cool.
comparing referring to what she went through? I had my gallbladder removed.
But you running, like you have these aha moments where you're like, I
She
can
went through
run.
an entire life.
know,
of, like,
I'm not
people fucking being
comparing
mean
it.
to her.
I'm
The
not
comments are gonna be
comparing
like, what
it.
the fuck?
Can you believe these two guys?
No, I will say, like, you had your moment of running. I had my moment, like, I'm a very big in yoga. I'm a yogi. I'm
too.
now into hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
Oh my God. Hot
Love
eight
it.
or
Hot
core
eight
power?
yoga. Sherman Oaks.
I go to
Ashley's
hot.
class.
What? Okay.
You don't go there.
I go there all the time.
Girl,
I'm an influencer
we
there.
gotta link up.
Okay, but my favorite teacher is Yvonne.
I only go to Ashley, but I'm sure Yvonne is
Okay,
great.
she's great. 1 o'clock Tuesday, Thursday, and I think Wednesday.
You ever,
But,
you ever get pass out in there?
Yeah,
You
almost.
ever have the ambulance come?
No.
Oh, okay.
You
Well,
did?
let's not talk about it.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't. You know, I got kicked out for stinking for a while.
You stunk?
There was a bad rumor. Someone.
Were you not washing your sweaty stuff?
There was a moment.
Is that why this room stinks?
No,
No,
it
No,
doesn't.
I
any
shower.
odor.
But there was like a bad rumor that went around about me smelling in there, and I still say it wasn't me. And everybody smells.
There are people that don't wash their mats and their like yoga towels, and you can
No,
smell
I use
it.
their
It's
mats.
horrible.
I use their mats.
Me
I
too.
use their towels.
I
Yeah.
have fresh things every single time, and obviously my
Yeah,
clothes
but
are washed.
that rumor spread like wildfire amongst my friends.
So
Like,
how
I
did
heard
you-
you got
how
kicked
did
out of
you get-
yoga. I heard you didn't shower.
Oh
heard you
my
stink.
God.
How did you get reinstated?
I had my friend talk to the teacher, and they were just like, just make sure he's. So now I like shower before the class.
Maybe it's
Wow.
something you're eating.
Well, it's awful when you get old. You start to smell and you don't know.
Well, when you drink and then you go and sweat because you are detoxing.
I don't drink,
I don't drink that much either.
but I ate a lot of kimchi.
Oh,
No, I'm just
gotcha.
kidding. I'm only joking. All right, listen. This has been an insane, very, 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 very good podcast. I thank you
you.
so much for sharing. You know, I think like it's so good because it's like people want to ask questions and people are afraid to ask questions.
Mhm.
Okay, and so you're so cool about it. You've told us everything, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I
And
try to
appreciate
use
you.
grace.
You're a legend.
Oh, thanks.
And you're doing the Lord's work. I don't know if you're religious, but I'm not. As I said, I'm Jewish. Anything else you want to say to anything? You can plug in a second, but if you want to leave on something, what would you leave on?
Well, just my book, Why Are You So Sensitive, is available anywhere you buy books. And I've been getting a lot of DMs and people asking me about my podcast. We have
Billy and the Kid.
Billy and the Kid. We found a new company.
Great.
We left Jam in the Van, and our new company is amazing, and our new producer is amazing, and we'll have new episodes soon.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
you're taking a break on that, but coming soon.
Yeah, I just took a minute to find the right company because I needed to make sure it was the right one this time.
You gonna have kids?
I can't wait to have kids. That's what all this is for.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is the best. I have a son. He's in New York. You should link up with him.
Okay.
He's going to college, and then my daughter's here.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It's wild. Then I'm gonna have more kids. Can you believe that? I'm gonna have some real Bruce Jenner energy.
So typical LA,
Masculine.
dude.
I mean, what? No, hang on a second. It's not typical LA dude. I got a younger wife. She wants kids. What am I gonna
That's
do?
not typical LA.
No, it's
I don't
not.
like this.
No, not at all.
No, I think that it's great that you can have kids. More kids, the better. I'm for it. I just think it's funny because I hear that a lot from my friends. They're like, and also my younger friends are like dating older guys, and they're like, well, he wants to have kids again. I'm like, oh, like, of course he does. He likes that pussy.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I don't know.
Jeez.
I mean, you know, when you meet somebody that you love and they haven't done it yet, right? It feels like, oh, like she should get to do it too.
Totally. I'm for it. I'm not
Right.
I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying it's very
No, it is LA. I got to get out of LA so people can stop saying I'm LA. That's what I need to do. Are you going to move or you're moving to New York? What do you think of LA? Sucks?
No, I love LA.
You like it?
I love the beach. I love Ventura. I'm big on Ventura right now. I think that's where I want to raise my kids.
Ooh,
Ventura
very nice.
County.
Oh, yeah. They got a comedy club out there too.
I know. And like I'm from the Midwest, so I love the farms and
Yep.
just there's so much life out there.
Mhm.
And when you go to Ventura, it's literally like fields of produce. Like there's
Yep.
just so much beautiful life and it's on the beach.
You're a nature girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like to hike? You do Runyon?
I hike Fryman and Runyon. Like
I hike Fryman. We hike Fryman. My wife and I hike Fryman every day.
I hike
I haven't
Fryman
seen you yet.
every other day.
What will happen if I see you on the hike?
We'll say hi, hopefully.
Will we sit and talk, or will it just be a quick hi and that's it?
A quick hi.
That's it?
I usually hike with my mentors and close friends. And like we usually
Unreal.
No, well,
I thought we connected.
No, like
I would expect at least 60 seconds.
No, 60 seconds
At
is good.
least.
60 seconds is good.
That is ridiculous.
If I'm by
Billie.
myself, don't even.
If you're by yourself, if I'm with my wife and I see you, what's going to happen?
Hi.
Okay, I'll do it. Oh my God, Billie! What's going on?
How are you?
I'm so good. Hey, thank you so much for doing the podcast. That was so fun.
Yeah, no.
Everything
thanks.
good?
It's great. Have a good one. No, because you know what it is? Like,
Okay. And then if you did that, and right to my wife, I'd be like, have a good one. I'd be like, what? And I'd be slighted.
No, I get in trouble for people are like, what the fuck? Because if I'm wearing a hat and sunglasses or if I'm like in my zone,
Yeah.
I'm in my zone. It's like being on a treadmill in a way. You know, if that's what
I
I, say
hate
when
it.
I'm by
I hate
myself.
it when people talk to me when I'm walking.
Well, if I'm in my
I got
zone.
fucking headphones on and someone's like talking. I'm like, you fucking idiot. I got headphones on.
I got a rhythm going. I have a pace going.
And I'm walking fast.
I'm in my zone.
That's
And
something.
also, like, sometimes, like, my friends and my mentors and I would hike and they'll be, like, crying or in something, a deep conversation, you know, like, and I'll stop and say hi, but I'm not going to, like, interrupt, you know? I'm going to run into you now all the time. It's going to happen.
Oh, it's going to be on when you see me.
We're a hood.
No, I'm going to be looking. I'll be looking for Billie Lee. How do you get a mentor? You got a mentor? Who's your mentor?
I have a few mentors. I think it's really important.
How do you get a mentor? I never had anybody be my
So I
mentor.
have to ask someone.
You want to be my mentor?
Yeah, maybe.
Go ahead.
I think, well, most of mine are writers and producers in the industry.
Do they know you're their mentor? Do you call them that? You say, hey, you're my...
They know, like they know that I look up to them. They give me advice as a producer.
Do you ever use the phrase like, hey, as my mentor, I want to let you know?
I've introduced them as like my mentor, but I've never been like, hey, so you're my mentor. Like,
that's wild.
actually, I've had conversations with some people that I'm like, hey, I really love the fact that like you're like a mentor to me, because mentors like it's part of being of service. They feel good. You know, like, and I think that that's important as we grow older. And if you're more successful in this industry, it's nice to have that relationship and people can guide you, especially coming from someone who, like me, I came from nothing and I've had a lot of struggles in my life, and I really value their knowledge and their support.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I've had like
I'm gonna
3
get
or
some
4
mentors.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very beautiful thing.
I think it's a really important thing.
Totally.
Who's your
Yeah.
mentor?
Well, I mean,
Nobody wants to help me.
Maybe you can mentor someone.
Me? I can't help myself.
I've
What
had-
am I
I've
going to
had
say?
2
I don't know anything. AI's coming in. The robots are coming in from Tesla. What am I going to say?
Okay, I'm afraid the Tesla robots, because I drive a Tesla, so I love Tesla. I don't like Elon, obviously, but I'm afraid that the Tesla robots could be transphobic.
Why would they do that? Oh, because Elon?
Elon is so transphobic. Like, he literally disowned his own child. I would drive
a lot
the
of
car.
bad stuff could happen with those robots.
I know. I'll drive the car.
Why wouldn't
but-
you just like program them to rob a bank?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's very scary. And did you know that wasn't them talking? Those were people behind.
I know.
Did you hear that?
Saw
Wait,
that.
who? What are you
So
saying?
like there's videos of like 2 Chainz. He'll walk up to a robot and he's like, do you play basketball? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, no, not yet. But that is, the robot can't talk. That they were using humans that night.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up, but it also like, I guess what he's saying is at one point, once they start learning, they will be able to talk to you.
Elon gives me very small dick energy. And he's like, oh, we're going to do this. He's like promising all these things. And I just don't think he can really deliver.
I mean, listen, he's done a lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the robo taxi thing is going to be insane.
Yeah, that is going to be.
I mean, like, I know,
love my
I
Tesla.
know people don't like his politics, but I mean, as far as like people that have done stuff in our time, he's done a lot.
No, totally. I'm not saying he's not brilliant. I'm not saying you know, he's a brilliant person. And again, I love my car. But when it comes to like delivering certain things, like there's definitely been some delays and people were like, wait, this is not what you said it would be.
My friend bought the Roadster.
What is that?
It's like a really sick sports car. It's a 2-door, and it's not out. And
Oh.
he bought it like 5 years ago. He put down like $200,000.
And it's not out yet?
It's not out. And
Oh,
it's like, and I
no.
keep asking him, I'm like, what's happening? He's like, well, he's like, I might be living under a bridge when that Roadster comes.
Oh, no.
you imagine? Imagine you lose everything and then you get the Roadster. All right, Billy's got to go. Listen, this was, thank you, Billy.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for enlightening me today. Thank you for enlightening Keita. Thank you for being here. Go follow Billy and the Kid. I'm going to link the podcast below. I'm going to link the book below. Go buy the book and, become knowledgeable about everything that Billy's been through because it's important. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
and I
having
would
me.
say, like, quit being so, not you, I'm talking to the public. It's like, quit being so, like, sensitive about learning something new.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, it's just like.
People are coming around.
Have some fucking wonder. You know what I mean? Have a little bit of wonder in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Not you.
And don't be afraid to ask
looking at you,
questions.
but yeah.
Like me today, I was very brave.
Yeah, no, I'm very open and I try to use grace as I educate and inspire people.
Mhm.
I will say that it's not every trans person's responsibility to educate you. There is Google. Obviously, we're on a
Uh-huh.
platform where it's
Uh-huh.
different. But, some trans people get tired. Like, oh, man, I got to tell this motherfucker again. I'm just
this
trying to
past
live.
hour, you mean? Explaining it to me?
No, I'm here to do that. I'm being of service in that way. But some people are just trying to buy their groceries.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Go to the link and check out Billy. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you. It was
you.
awesome. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time. I'm looking for a mentor if you know anybody. Bye-bye.